Welcome to the Impact Stream. I'm your host, Malak Salaime, and our favorite question is, what's your impact? We're here to uncover purpose and impact-driven initiatives and the amazing people behind them here in the UAE. And with us today is Hassan Algarhy, the CEO and founder of Duverse. So I'd love to start with this important question. What is your impact and what is your inspiration behind creating this impact in the UAE?
Well, thank you for having me. Our impact is that we want to significantly change the way we design, build, and operate in our cities. Because currently, the way we design and build our cities is leading to huge environmental, social, and economical problems. And we want to get that changed.
So what sparked your interest in connecting sustainability with emerging technologies, especially with a focus of AI?
Well, my technical background as an architect and urban planner, I've always asked the question, what is the impact of our designs on people, on humans? Because as architects, urban planners, and interior designers, we design for people, we design for humans. Yet we study nothing about the human psychology, which means we know nothing about the end user that we're designing for. So I started actually reading books and articles about this about this field, like the impact of our designs on the well-being and mental health of people. And then a few years back, I read some reports and studies stating that people living in cities have an increased risk of 21% of facing anxiety disorders, an increased risk of about 39% of facing mood disorders like depression, and almost double the risk of facing other psychological issues like schizophrenia. And I read another shocking report, it was actually by the World Health Organization, stating that the risk of facing psychosis, which is a psychiatric disorder related to hallucinations, delusions, and paranoia, is almost higher by 77% in cities, 77%. That is a huge, shocking number. So that led me to explore solutions for these problems. And a few years back, when the hype of emerging technologies like AI, metaverse, VR, AR, it became like the hype and became trendy, I saw a solution in these technologies. They can actually speed up the solutions for these problems that we are facing in our cities.
Amazing. That's really interesting. I mean, all those statistics and studies and R&D that I'm sure you had to go through a lot prior to actually developing Duverse. But, was it your inspiration actually connected to what you studied and kind of identifying these challenges that you found specifically in the UAE? Was it kind of tailored for UAE or did you create it in a way that it can be expanded and upscaled?
Well, first it started in the UAE. I've been here for about 15 years. So yeah, I've seen all the visions and I've seen all sustainability vision and all that. So that's great. And that really motivated me to take this forward. And quite honestly, all the initiatives from Dubai Municipality, Abu Dhabi Municipality, and the government here is super visionary and motivating me to take this further. But not only in the UAE, we are actually from day one, our vision is to export innovation from the UAE to the world. So we have been developing innovation in the UAE and we have been working in other countries as well and exporting this type of innovation and these solutions as well.
Amazing. And when it comes to sustainability, it's not very quite common to find a company that's connecting sustainability with AI. So how did you identify and connect sustainability to be the focus area for Duverse?
Because these solutions like emerging technologies like digital twins and AI and stuff, through these technologies, we can run lots of simulations related to greenhouse gas emissions, related to energy consumption and stuff like that, which is super promising because, the current popular AI tools is called generative. Most of them are generative artificial intelligence, which means that you give the tool a text or a prompt and it generates a text, a video, or an image. But there is another type of artificial intelligence, which is predictive artificial intelligence, and that's what we're mostly using. So we can predict scenarios. We can predict stuff related to greenhouse gas emissions, energy consumption. Cities now struggle to balance between energy requirements, energy demand, and sustainability. So these technologies can really support in predicting and in giving solutions and recommendations to all these problems.
So kind of talking about AI, it's such a hot topic now in the UAE. So I wanted to ask you, how do you feel like the future of Duverse is going to be within 5 to 10 years with the focus area of sustainability and AI?
Well, our goal is actually to significantly transform the way we design and build our cities, not only in a way of flying cars and robotic labor, but in a human-centric approach. When I say human-centric approach, I mean understanding the impact of our designs on people, on the inhabitants within these cities, how we can enable them to live better and happier lives in these cities by understanding the impact of our design decisions on these people. So we want to develop these technologies in terms of digital twins, artificial intelligence, in order to achieve these goals.
And something I'm curious to ask, I know Duverse has a few different products, but I wanted to ask, what was your most impactful one that you feel like is very demanded here?
So mainly I would say the stuff related to sustainability, running simulations related to greenhouse gas emissions and also energy consumption. This is very related to the Emirates' vision of sustainability. But also there was one very exciting use case. It's actually one of my favorite. And it was based on the work of two urban planners, Charles Landry and Chris Morey. They wrote a book called Psychology and the City. So they kind of introduced something called the city personality test. So you imagine the city as a person. What would be the personality of that city? So let me ask you, if you imagine Dubai as a person, what would be the personality of Dubai to you?
I'd say dynamic. If I had to select one word, I'd say dynamic.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, most people would say that Dubai is, yes, dynamic, futuristic, innovative, creative. And the thing is that the personality of the city reflects on the personality of the people living within that city. So you feel like everybody in Dubai want to be innovative, creative, futuristic, the best of the best, you know, which reflects on their productivity and then reflects on the economy in a positive way, of course. So we did run this test in the Emirates. We run it on 10 other cities around the world. We utilize digital twins and artificial intelligence in order to run this test. And we did feed it with some high quality data by integrating psychology and urban design. In some cities, we saw, for example, the city suffer from a lack of confidence, and that reflects on the people living in that city. Some cities are a bit chaotic, noisy, so that reflects again on the people living in that city, which means they are, you know, noisy, a bit aggressive, loud, and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, a psychiatrist sitting and analyzing somebody, seeing the problems with him, and then trying to give solutions. Now we can get these solutions by utilizing these emerging technologies, by utilizing digital twins and AI, and getting recommendations out of them.
I'm honestly really amazed. Like, I've never discovered or learned about, you know, technology that can actually identify and describe a city, you know, connected to psychology. You know, it's not something that I've ever came across. So it's very unique to learn that about Duverse. And really the products and the services that you've developed are fascinating.
Thank you.
I have a question as well that connects to this. So is there any inspiration when it comes to like growing up, or aside from your studies in psychology, what else was, you know, the push or the drive for Duverse? It can be, was it like a partner or initiative? Was there anything else that kind of inspired you to get that push to grow Duverse into what it is now?
So I would say the reports and statistics and articles that I read really resonated with an idea that I had before when I was studying architecture and urban planning. And it's again the impact of our designs on people. I really wanted to make this link. And when I came here to the Emirates and I saw all the initiatives that they made related to metaverse and artificial intelligence and all that, it really motivated me to take this further and to understand this better and to make a significant impact on people's lives in the Emirates and all around the world.
So what is the future of Duverse and the impact that it can deliver, let's say, in another 20 years, like in a long-term stage?
So we want to utilize emerging technologies like digital twins and AI and develop them in order to transform our cities to inclusive, active, playable, human-centric, nature-integrated cities. So this is our plan. We're working with governments and we're working with municipalities and urban planners in order to get there.
So let's say like a walking pathway, you know, or let's say like a stop sign, or like the lights in the cities. Like, how would that kind of play out? Like, how would you see the changes or the development or the innovation?
I'll give you some examples, actually. So there was a use case. It was in Latin America where there was a city, the crime rate and aggressive attitude was super high in that city. And what happened is that they changed the urban experience there. Okay, so they created some outdoor football areas, fitness areas, basketball areas, play areas for kids. And immediately the crime rates and aggressive attitude decreased in that city. So that's a direct evidence that the urban experience and the urban design can change the attitude of people and people's lives into a better and happier life and change their behavior as well. So this is something actually that we borrow again from psychology. So it's behavioral psychology, how you can change the behavior of people through urban design, not in a way of social engineering people, but it's in a way of improving the aggressive attitude. So another example was an experiment that was done in Canada, where they wanted to see the impact of a place in Japan on people. So they put people in a highly immersive environment, simulating this place, and then they put sensors on people, to measure their heartbeat, their gaze, their reactions to this place. Yeah. So this is now, you can call it an experimental science of urban psychology, where you can actually test the impact of our design on people, how to make them happier, how to improve their attitude and stuff like that. And then you can make design decisions to change, these design in order to achieve a better impact on people. You don't have to build the thing and then realize that there is an issue with it and then you need to renovate it or change it. You can try and test as much as you want in an immersive environment and then take the right decision. And
it sounds like the results that you're collecting are very quantitative. So it looks like you can really track the impact and the quantity of, the numbers to actually ensure like what were the changes in individuals' behavior, how were the fluctuations between these tests that you guys were doing?
Yeah, exactly. Our goal is to make a real effective impact on the ground, and that has to be science-based impact. We need to do an actual experiment and know that what we are doing is on the right track.
Amazing. I didn't really think of the back end part of Duverse. I was just kind of thinking of like, what is the front end? Like, what are the changes that you guys are implementing? But to really take it a step back and to really reflect that you guys are really doing so much like, science and research and development to really understand prior to jumping into understanding what the cities are. Yeah. So it's really understanding the individuals that are living in the cities prior to further developing the cities.
Exactly. The individuals, but also on a community scale, a city scale, a global scale. Yeah. Because these technologies can actually impact our collective mental health and well-being, our collective intelligence, our collective productivity in a positive way, of course. And I can talk a lot about that. I can tell you, because I consider these emerging technologies as the infrastructure. They are like the kitchen, but you can't get something out of that kitchen without good ingredients, a good recipe, and then experienced chef who can actually cook these ingredients and recipe.
That's a great metaphor.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is that I can give you some information about, I wouldn't say secret recipe, but high quality recipe that we're using. So basically we borrow from psychology, some schools from psychology, we integrate it with urban design, and then we feed it to our digital twins and AI algorithms, because the quality of the outcome from these digital twins and AI algorithm is highly depending on the quality of the ingredients of the data you're feeding it. So some of these schools of psychology, the first school is called actually psychodynamic theory. And one of the things that the psychodynamic theory studies is how emotions, thoughts, and early life experiences shape the person we turn out to be. Our emotions, thoughts, and early life experiences are closely related to our cities, to our districts, to the places where we are born. You're always connected to this landmark, to this shop, to this mountain, whatever. So this we integrate with urban design. We want to make sure that the algorithm and the digital twin gives a positive outcome, and then we feed it to the algorithm. The other school of psychology is environmental psychology, which studies the impact of the natural and built environment on people and the impact of people on the environment as well. So this is right straight to the point. We get this school, we integrate it also with urban design, and again, we feed it to our digital twins. The other school of psychology, as I mentioned earlier, about behavioral psychology, how to change the behavior of people to better behavior and mitigate or eliminate the aggressive and maybe bad behavior in some cities. And then we have the evolutionary psychology, which studies how our emotions and thoughts evolve with our evolutionary process, but also with how the cities are evolving. So this is important that these emotions and thoughts should evolve in a positive way as well. And the last psychology school I'm going to talk about today is positive psychology. So the mainstream psychology tend to focus on what is wrong with people, but positive psychology focuses on what is right and tries to boost it. And a great example for that is Dubai, actually. It focuses on what is right with people and with the city, what is the huge potential in the city, and motivates people to do more and boost this potential. So we get these schools of psychology. There are many other schools of psychology, but I highlighted the 5 main schools of psychology that we're using, integrating it with urban design, and then feeding the digital twin and AI algorithm with this data in order to make sure that the outcome has a positive impact on people, on their mental health and well-being. So this is our high-quality ingredients.
From the kitchen, from Duverse, straight from Duverse. Yeah. I love how you're tracing it all back on the focus of the result has to be a positive impact. And I really love that. I wanted to kind of understand, did you identify any gaps, let's say, across the rest of the Emirates where Duverse can also join in supporting?
Yeah, it's mostly related to sustainability. They always want to do more in terms of sustainability and reach to,
sustainability is a huge demand.
Yeah. So they always want to do more in terms of sustainability. So we always get, RFPs and inquiries related to stuff like greenhouse gas emissions, energy consumption, and stuff like that. So it's really great and promising in the Emirates, I would say.
Did you touch point any of the Northern Emirates, or where was your, let's say, your different, areas of collaborations in different UAE cities?
Yeah, we've actually worked with Ajman municipality and also with Sharjah on some initiatives as well related to urban planning and integrating digital twins within their solutions.
Awesome. So are you looking forward to kind of expanding more across the different Emirates?
Yeah, of course.
Exploring some, yeah. Amazing. And when I was saying, kind of identifying the gaps, you're saying the main focus is that everyone is demanding sustainability.
Yeah.
Is there any other areas that you feel like we should focus on other than sustainability based on the demand in the cities?
I think there is a lot more that could be done. I think there is a lot more that we can add in terms of, again, measuring the impact of our designs and initiatives on people by utilizing emerging technologies.
So more metric-based, kind of like identifying, getting those clear reportings and then maybe publishing it publicly? Would that kind of...
That's one thing, but also implementing these solutions on the ground. I'll give some examples, like, for example, more nature integration within the cities, because nature and nature-themed designs has a huge positive impact on our well-being and mental health. So this is one thing. So there are lots of things that we can recommend and we can work on in order to make people's life happier and better.
So my question is, like, what is like the most innovative, most unique product that you've developed from Duverse?
Well, there have been some great products and initiatives with governments and municipalities. So the ones related to greenhouse gas emissions and related to energy consumption, but we utilize actually drones, autonomous drones, in order to do some surveys and get data and feed it to these digital twins and AI algorithms, which is, super exciting. These drones can do a lot of stuff and can be a very effective data entry tool to our digital twins and AI tools.
So how are these drones collecting all this data? Coming from someone that doesn't have a very technical background.
Yeah. So drones, there are many types of drones. We actually have a solution called a drone box. We have a partner from Lithuania, actually. So we have a drone box where you can schedule a mission and the drone can fly, do a surveying or detect some stuff, whatever you ask it to do. And then it goes back to the drone box and feeds our digital twin with the data that it collected.
This is just mind-blowing for me. I have a question. What about like the fear of like AI replacing humans and like the touch of humans and the interactions and emotions and that connectivity that you can only get with a human being? Like, what's your perspective on that?
Well, that's a super great question. Thank you for the question. I can talk a lot about that, but the thing is that AI will not, in that sense, replace people's jobs. It will actually take away the repetitive, administrative, life-wasting jobs and free up our time to focus on creative and strategic tasks. So we can realize our potential, we can realize our talents and skills, work on it, develop it, monetize it, have a better income, and let these technologies take away the repetitive, life-wasting tasks.
So you're saying pretty much these products that are based on AI are just solutions that are taking out these daily tasks and making things a lot easier. So you're pretty much saying also like humans can utilize their time on a more, they can utilize their time in a more important way, investing in more, vital things rather than collecting data, which a drone can do pretty much.
Exactly. An AI tool can do, I'll give you an example. If you want to do a research in any field, in business, in science, in sports, whatever, before, maybe you would need 3-4 months to do this research. Now you can do it in 3-4 hours and free up your time to do more research or to do more creative and strategic tasks.
So it really is creating it's making things a lot faster and more efficient. It's developing a lot of efficiency, I think, inside the, process flow when it comes to working.
Exactly. And if it comes back to what we are doing, like these digital twins, if you want to run all these simulations before, you got to bring, 5-10 companies and consultants from different fields and take maybe 2-3 years to run one simulation that we can do in 2-3 months. So.
Oh, wow. So it's a lot more seamless. It's faster. Yeah. I mean, AI is really life-changing, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole different world, honestly, when it comes to entering AI. And it's such a trending thing in the UAE. So it's really nice to see that Duverse is also supporting in the development of emerging technology, touching point on AI, and it's fascinating, honestly.
Yeah, it's a great honor to be a part of this thriving ecosystem and this vision and this innovative vision of the UAE, actually.
Let's say when it comes to startups, startups there's a huge amount of startups that are really growing and really pushing to upscale here in the UAE. What is some advice that you would provide to them, especially when it comes to the fields of environment, technology, AI, etc.?
Find a creative solution for a real problem, yes, persistence and consistency are key, but lacking a creative solution for a real problem is a recipe for failure. So you're going to face many roadblocks. So if you face one roadblock, you got to pivot and change path. You might need to change your solution, your location, your timing, even the sector you're catering to. So adaptability is key. And at the beginning of your project, don't invest too much in technology because not every technology would work. See traction first and then start investing more.
So it seems like it's really important, that prototyping stage, the R&D and prototyping stage sounds like it's very vital prior to jumping into the market and going very public.
100%, yeah.
Amazing.
Exactly, yeah.
How was your R&D and stage, let's say? Did that take up years? Did you do a lot of research and development prior to the development of Duverse?
Yeah, exactly. I would say it took about 2 years in POCs and stuff. And I'm giving this advice.
That's not too bad.
Because, yeah, it's not too bad.
So it's advice from someone that's experienced
it. We actually invested a lot initially in technology and POCs and stuff. And then we figured out, it's better that we saw traction first and then invest more. But we've done lots of POCs. Some of them didn't work. So,
I see.
Yeah.
So it's really identifying the challenge, identifying what's the demand in the market, and then developing that solution and going through the R&D and prototyping stage, correct?
Exactly.
Amazing. Any other advice that you'd give for startups in the UAE in general as well?
UAE is a very promising place to be in, but also very competitive. So you got to work hard and you got to be persistent.
Speaking of competitors, do you have any competitors? And let's say if you do, how are you navigating around through the market to ensure that these competitors are not, thriving much more than Duverse? How do you work around that?
I think everybody has their unique approach and unique vision. And our vision is based on more than 20 years of experience of integrating psychology, urban design, and emerging technologies. So this field, there's still a lot of work to be done in this field. So actually, I would welcome more people to come into this field and work in this field.
Wow.
So I'm not afraid of competition. Everyone would have their own vision, their own solution. And we're confident in our solution as well.
That's a great response, honestly. So you're welcoming to the competitors to join on board. You're pushing for more emerging technology companies focusing on these challenges that need solutions. So,
yes, for sure.
Yeah, amazing. So Duverse is thriving. Duverse was founded in what year exactly were you
2022.
Guys? Okay, 2022. And it's a UAE-born company here in
Dubai,
amazing.
Born and based. Yeah.
What are some of the initiatives and support that you got from partners and, let's say, government that supported the growth of Duverse that you'd like to highlight?
Many initiatives. To start with, of course, the Future 100. So Duverse was one of only 26 companies that was awarded the Future 100 two times. The first time they did it in 2023 and then in 2024. And that's a great acknowledgement from the government. Of course, I'm really thankful for them. And also the DIFC Metaverse Accelerator program at Mohammed bin Rashid Innovation Fund. So all these initiatives are great initiatives, and you really feel that people working there, they want to make the startups within these initiatives successful. They want to make the whole ecosystem successful. So I'm really thankful for them, and I'd like to thank everybody working on these initiatives.
I'm really happy that you're highlighting this, and the potential for other people to join these initiatives it's open. So I think most of them are on a yearly basis.
Yeah, exactly. I think even Mohammed bin Rashid Innovation Fund, they do it twice a year. They have two cohorts a year.
And I want to say congratulations, because I heard that you became recently Majra verified. So Duverse became Majra verified. So sustainable impact verification stamp is something that is very unique, and something that, it's such a big achievement to honestly get. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we're really opening it up to the sustainability field for CSR and ESG as well, really promoting, companies to get that verification stamp. So that's a big achievement also for Duverse.
Yeah, definitely. Majra, it was a great experience actually, and you have the feeling that the Majra team, they really genuinely want to make sure that what they are evaluating and assessing is doing a tangible, sustainable impact on the ground. It was a great experience, and also I'd like to thank everybody in Majra's team for the great process and for their efforts. And for us, it means a lot as well, because it gives trust in what we are doing. Customers and community, they know that what we are doing is tangible, effective impact on the ground. They trust us. They trust that we are doing what we are saying. So it's a great initiative. It's a great acknowledgement and recognition. It's motivating us a lot. So thank you so much for that.
I'd love to touch point on CSR, so corporate social responsibility, and especially on the sector of education. What's your viewpoint on that, especially when it comes to Duverse?
There is a huge potential in the education sector. We've done some CSR work with NGOs and stuff related to actually mainly countries in Africa, where we want to provide education in these countries through immersive experiences. So we train students on experiments, basically in virtual environment, and also vocational education, so they can learn a skill that can benefit them and they can generate income out of that skill. So we've done some work in this field related to designing these experiments where these kids or these teenagers can actually do the experiment in a virtual experience. So that's a great learning experience for them, and also it's easier access for them. There are some challenges related to the technology and the internet and the VR headsets and stuff like that, but we have done some work also in finding solutions for these problems, like creating centers, having these facilities. We've done some prototypes as well. So it's pretty promising. Yeah. So actually, talking about reports, there was a shocking report that there is 258 million out-of-school children globally. 258 million. Yeah. So a part of this problem is, I would say, the cost of actually building a school. School building, it costs a lot. It takes time. So we actually were promoting something that we named bricks and mortar-less education, which means you don't need a school to deliver a successful educational process. You can take away all this cost and start introducing the educational process by utilizing emerging technologies, VR and digital twins and stuff.
And you were saying like potentially even building like centers where they can allocate in these centers like VR and all the technology and equipments that they need in order to gain that education.
Exactly.
Is that something that you've started? Is it what stage is it on currently?
It's still prototypes and we're testing it. But I would say the utilization of emerging technologies in education is not just merely putting VR headsets on students' heads, but it's also about, again, human-centric and personalizing the experience by understanding the cognitive abilities and the requirements of each student and tailoring the experience to them. Because now our education system is basically teaching everybody the same thing regardless of their skills or cognitive abilities. So this is, again, a huge area that we're exploring.
I think it's a great area to actually expand on and to continue, because, curriculums are very fixed.
Our focus right now is on smart city. Smart cities and providing solutions. and integrating, again, psychology with urban design, utilizing emerging technologies for these solutions. So this is our current focus. Education is another sector that we're exploring. But the potential of these emerging technologies could be in many fields, not only in the sectors that we're working on.
So that seems like there's no limit when it comes to emerging technologies. There's no specific sector that you need to focus on. I mean, whatever comes your way, it seems like there is a way to actually support and growing it and really upscaling the different sectors that come.
Of course, once you have the know-how and knowledge, you can cater to any sector. We prefer actually to focus right now on what we are working on, but our expansion plans, including venturing to other sectors as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When it comes to digital twinning, can you walk us through the experience when it comes to the user, from the moment that they put on the headset?
Well, the experience differs a lot, from if we're doing a super technical digital twin, like for, let's say, energy simulation or greenhouse gas emissions, or if we're doing something more to the general public to test their happiness and stuff like that. So if it's a technical digital twin, then it would be more like, statistics and stuff that designers can sort of change their design elements and stuff. But if it's from a user, like a general public perspective, usually it's more fun, it's more interactive. And especially if we're going to test it, like the example I mentioned, if we want to test the reactions, then there are different, colors, changes, interactive experiences within this digital twin. So it depends on the use case of the digital twin. And there is always an element that I call positive psychological impact design elements that we introduce to the digital twin, like live digital twin, in order to see the impact on people as well.
So as we come to a close, I wanted to first say thank you so much for joining us on the Impact Stream. And I wanted to just leave it for you to leave a few lasting words for our audience and ensuring that you let us know how we can stay connected to you.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for the great questions. And people can reach out to us through our website, duverse.ae, or through our social media accounts. They are also available on our website. And they can reach out to us through email as well, build@duverse.ae.
Amazing. And to all of our listeners today, I just love to say thank you so much. And I really hope that this conversation left you with some motivation and inspiration to think about what impact you can be creating in the society. And we'll hope to see you again on Impact Stream.